Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you also has to do with my plate, and these are disposable placemats, and I'll link these as well. This comes with 40 of them, and this is what they look like. They're folded up, and there's actually tape on the back, so if you go to a restaurant or somewhere like that, you can just peel these off and tape them right onto the table. But what I really like is this is just a fun thing to do at mealtime. And you could give this if you have multiple children, you can all do this at the table, or even the parents too. And it's just a great conversation starter, and it really gets you involved and interacting with the food, which even if they're not eating it yet, even if they're willing to just look at it, talk about it, touch it, put it on their placemat, even if it's just sitting on the table and they're exposed to it, that is a good step in the right direction. So I think this is a great way to kind of get that going. And as a parent, everything you need is on here. You don't have to remember what you should talk about or anything like that. It's all on here. So at the top it says I'm a food scientist, which is kind of fun. You can play that up. And then in the middle is kind of like the my plate. So they could put their plate on top of it, or they could just sort the foods by food group directly on here, which is fun. And then it talks about all their different senses. So you can talk about what you see, what color it is, the shape of it, and the size. And then we talk about the texture, which you may start to realize that your child likes or dislikes a specific texture, which is a good thing to know. And then here, this is kind of cool. So like, what does it sound like when you chew it? What does it sound like if you mush it in your hands? Things like that. You really just want your child interacting with the food as much as possible. Even if they're not putting it anywhere near their mouth, that is okay. If they can squish it, that's great. If they will lick it, perfect. If they'll touch it to their cheek, awesome. So as much interaction as we can get is the goal. And then over here, what does it smell like? If you can get them to smell it, that is also great. And then again, taste, which you might not always get to this depending on the level of your child, and that's okay. But then you can taste it and you can kind of describe it to them. And also you can do this with foods that they already like. That would be a good way to start. Start with their favorite food and describe it. And then once they get comfortable describing it, then maybe move on to some newer foods. And let's say they like salty foods. Their favorite foods are salty. So you really talk about how their foods are salty when they're eating them. And then you put another food on their plate that is also salty, and maybe they'll start to be more prone to wanting to try it if they start to see similarities in foods that they do like. The last thing on here I absolutely love, and I think this is so important, is a rating scale. I'll try to show you. It says, do I like it? Yeah, a little, and not really. So it goes, shows the different faces too, which I think is helpful. It kind of gives children a guide and kind of helps give them a voice, I think. So a lot of times kids are just, their automatic response is, ew, gross, yuck, I don't like it, I don't want it, they push it away. They get in that habit and they don't even give their mind time to process if they liked it or not. I've had a child gag and spit out a food, and then a couple minutes later he was like, I think I actually kind of liked it. And they're just so caught up in this rut. And a rating scale is a good way for them to prove to themselves that they might have liked a food more than they thought they did. So again, start with rating foods that you know they like, so they can get used to saying, I like it, I like it. And then when they try a new food, say, did you really not like it? Or did you like it a little bit? You don't have to eat any more. Just because they say they liked it a little, you shouldn't push, well, then you should take another bite, because then they're just going to tell you, nope, don't like it. So I think that there's a lot of really helpful things on here. And again, I think it's great for parents because it gives you everything you need right here. So I think that this is a huge help, and I hope that that is helpful for you guys.